Yes, I often think DJs wear them to listen to decent music while they're playing them.
Very wise, I think that is, David.
Sorry? We're now streaming live.
Oops.
Good evening and welcome to this extraordinary meeting of the Council. Please note, this meeting is being streamed live to the internet. Please could all members ensure their microphone is set to mute unless they are speaking to reduce any background noise. It is important to remember that you may only speak when called by the chairman. Also, ensure any other devices nearby are switched to silent mode as they can be distracting. Members should use the raised hand button when they wish to speak. When it's your turn to speak, I will call your name and invite you to speak. Once you've spoken, I will flatten your hand. If during the vote there are technical problems, the committee services officer will contact the relevant member so that they are able to give their vote over the phone, which will be on the loudspeaker so that other members can hear. If any member loses connection during this meeting, then the meeting will be paused for a period of up to 3 minutes in order to give the relevant member the opportunity to rejoin the meeting. It is recommended to councillors that should they struggle to rejoin the meeting online, that they rejoin the meeting via the telephone number given in order to assist with the smooth commencement of the meeting. Before we go into the full agenda, I would just like to speak a little about Mandy Pyle. It was with great sadness we learned of the sudden passing of our Waste Services Manager and colleague, Mandy Pyle. Mandy had worked with Folkestone High District Council for 9 years. Councillor Stuart Peel worked closely with Mandy over the last few years, and I call upon Councillor Peel to ask if he would like to say a few words on his experience of working with Mandy, after which we will have a moment of quiet reflection in her memory. Councillor Peel.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. This is obviously something that's been very difficult to put together and write because of the shock of the news at the weekend. Mandy was an excellent officer. She devoted her life and career to Dover District Council, where she started in 1991, and in 2011 she became the Waste Services Manager for both Dover District Council and ourselves, and she led the joint waste team. I've been working with her for some time, and she's always been professional, humorous, done everything in a great spirit and with great skill, and made it the successful service that it is today. She was naturally a warm and generous person. I know she loved her holidays with her family. That was one of the big things that she lived for, and therefore very sad that she was away when she sadly passed away. She was committed to advancing recycling, was an active contributor to the Kent Waste Resource Partnership, and nationally she served on the executive of the Local Authority Recycling Advisory Committee. So we were excellently served by as I say, a dedicated officer. It's shocking to me, as she was only slightly older than I am, to think of her suddenly passing away. As a portfolio holder, I found Mandy's advice invaluable, admired her all-round knowledge and dedication, and she gave the best service to our residents and was always paramount in looking after them. She will be greatly missed, and as I've said before, I think it's going to be incredibly difficult for anybody to step into her shoes as well. On behalf of the council, I'd like to express our condolences to her husband Chris and to her daughters Ellie and Sadie. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Peel. We'll just take a moment of reflection. Thank you, councillors. I'd like to introduce you now to Father Alex Saba, priest in charge of Our Lady Help of Christians and St. Joseph's, Folkestone, to lead us in prayer. Father Saba.
Thank you. Almighty eternal God, you have revealed your glory to all the nations as a God of power and might, wisdom and justice. Through you, all authority is rightly used, administered. We pray for the members of the Council of Folkestone and High as they start once again. That all they may be doing may be done in love and peace. And all the people of this council you have entrusted to them, they felt being guided, loved, and served. May they be enabled to be your powerful presence as they charge their duties with honesty and love. We remember all those who help them in their duty, especially those who have passed away like Mandy, that they may all rest in peace. Lord, be their joy and light during this coming year. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Father Saba. We move now to agenda items. Are there any apologies?
Thank you. Yes, this evening we have one apologies for absence from Councillor Godfrey. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any declarations of interest? No? Right, we come to item 3, Chairman's communications. Firstly, I'd like to thank all our officers for the way they have unstintingly kept us up to date with all the many changes during the additional workload they have taken on during this most difficult of times. Thank you. Because of the restrictions of the pandemic, my Deputy Councillor Philip Martin and I have been unable to support many of the outside invitations that we would have normally supported. However, I did manage on the 15th of September to support the Battle of Britain commemoration on the Lees and also support the Hawkinge Mayor-making ceremony of Councillor Martin on the 23rd of September. Government guidelines were in place at both of these ceremonies. On the 8th of October, I joined in the very well organised Black History Month celebrations on Zoom. This was very well supported by many groups and individuals throughout the evening with music, poems, readings, and interesting stories. Thank you, councillors. We move on to item 4, announcements of the Leader of the Council. Councillor Monk.
Thank you, Madam Chairman, and good evening to you all. Well, it's a long time since I addressed the Council with my report. Such a lot has happened since I last spoke to you all. And I, like the Chairman, must start by praising the fantastic response of our officers in dealing with the pandemic situation, as well as continuing to deliver our ambitious programmes. There are many instances of them going above and beyond in the course of their duties, and in recognition of this, we have extended the Christmas break. I would like to thank those members that were able to contribute as well, especially those working with the hubs. With regard to Napier Barracks, the situation at the moment appears to be stable. This past weekend's potential clash of divergent groups passing off with only one arrest. Again, 6 of our officers were supporting the police to assist in controlling the situation. I will stress that this is a Home Office project, although we have posted on our website a question and answer to inform our residents. Back to our wonderful staff. We have just received the official confirmation of the outcome of the review of our customer service excellence certification. Not only have we fully passed all 57 categories, we have gained yet another 3 Compliance Plus awards, which brings our total to 15, which is exceptional and is an endorsement of our mantra, customer first. The assessor particularly noted the enthusiasm and goodwill evinced by all. Some of you have asked me to arrange a physical meeting for all the councils that want or can attend. To that end, I'm trying to arrange a meeting at Western Hangar where there is room in the marquee to set out tables with safe distancing. As soon as I can confirm, I will confirm and let you know. At the present time, there is no likelihood of a physical council meeting as some members are shielding and we cannot at present legally hold a hybrid meeting. We will continue to hold leaders' question sessions and the next visual council meeting is scheduled for the 25th of November. Madam Chairman, that concludes my report and I move that the council accepts it.
Thank you, Councillor Monk.
Happy to second, Chairman.
Thank you, Councillor. All agreed? No? Councillor McConville, did you wish to respond?
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Yes, time has flown by. It seemed only sort of a very short time ago we were preparing for our meeting in March, which we obviously never got to have, and now we're in October. So it's just been absolutely non-stop, and to echo my thoughts to the staff. I mean, their dedication and their commitment to adapting to new ways of working under all the pressures that we've had to deal with over the past few months is truly remarkable, and the fact that they've still done that and managed to go on and win awards is amazing. I'm really happy that we in the summer that we highlighted the fact that even though we couldn't have our normal meetings, that there should still be a process for the councillors and members of the public to ask their questions, and really happy to at the response that we had in the Q&A sessions that we've had, and I look forward to those continuing. Also, you mentioned the community hubs. I mean, I think they've been absolutely fantastic. I've obviously been involved at Folkestone since the very start, and I really look forward to seeing how they grow and continue to serve our communities, well into the future. And finally, just on Napier, I look forward to obviously the council and the Home Office working together to ensure that those people that are currently residing in the district, continue to be treated with the dignity and respect until such time as their legal paperwork is done and they move out of the district. But while they're here, we should treat them as any other member of our district. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor McConville. Councillor Monk, did you wish to respond?
Well, it's not a lot to say, except on Councillor McConville's last point. I totally agree with him, dignity and everything. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Right, now we turn to the opposition business. Councillor McConville, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yes, so hopefully everyone has read the opposition business there. I mean, it largely stems from some work that the Children's Society started many years ago. And you know, they were lobbying to ensure that children that have left care, you know, get a little bit of extra financial support early in life to sort of set themselves up on, you know, on the road to where they want to go. You know, over the years, I mean, many councils, you know, well over 100 councils up and down the country have brought in measures to ensure that, you know, children up to the age of 25 who have been in care, you know, have a bit of a break from council tax to help them along. In January, there was a meeting at KCC, and they decided that, you know, they would sort of only support children up to the age of 21. So, I mean, what I'm asking really here is that, you know, we ask our Revenues and Benefits team to go away, produce a report to send to Cabinet to look at the possibility of how we can support those people living in our district aged between 22 and 25 who no longer sort of fall under the current help of to see if it's possible chance and start in life, and that is the crux of the recommendations that I'm.
Is that a proposal, councillor?
Councillor McConville, you're actually on mute still.
Yeah, so I propose that we adopt option B for this opposition business, which is to refer this to Cabinet. Thank you.
Have you a seconder?
Happy to second, Madam Chairman.
Yeah.
Councillor Prater? Yeah, thank you.
Can I speak to the motion, Madam Chair?
Certainly, it's open to debate.
Thank you very much. I'm delighted to second this motion, and if it's passed, to carry through the recommendations as the responsible Cabinet member. Now, I know that a Cabinet member seconding opposition business is a little unorthodox, but as I'm often reminded, this is a different sort of council these days. Earlier this year, Kent County Council accepted the position that they would fund council tax payments for 18 to 21-year-old care leavers. That is to their credit, but clearly not everyone is fully up and running by the age of 21. I know that applies to people of any background, but those in care have had additional challenges and have become our responsibility. And there will still be some people by the age of 21 who have left care who do still need that additional support beyond that time. Now, it's wrong to generalise. Some care leavers will fly at the age of 18. Some may take a little longer to do so. Some, maybe many, won't either need or want our help. We have a duty as a corporate parent not to offer an equality of outcome, but an equality of opportunity to succeed. And if we can help those over the age of 21 who need us, we should do so. I've had a look at examples of district councils across the country who are offering support in varying ways and to varying amounts to those aged between 22 to 25 who've left care. I've spoken to colleagues on one district council that put a support scheme in place from this April, and about the number of people that they're now supporting under that policy. And having done so, I'm confident that we can design and bring forward a scheme that is affordable. We all know that there are going to be a lot of people that need our help in the coming months. We all know that we are going to face a lot of budget challenges in the coming year. We'll want to do our best for everyone. But in this one specific instance, I'm confident that we can go further and offer that additional helping hand to those that need it most without breaking the budget. Because what this motion calls for isn't prescriptive. In discussing this motion with Councillor McConville in advance, it's clear we have a common goal. And I'm more than happy for a report to come back to Cabinet on ways that we can exempt or significantly reduce council tax for those care leavers in the district aged 22 to 25 who need it. Next week is National Care Leavers Week. This motion is timely and it's well intended, and it will help make the transition to independent living for those struggling to do so by the age of 22 just that little bit easier. I'm happy to support the motion and to respond positively to the challenge it offers us.
Thank you, Councillor Prater. Councillor Carey?
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I recall when the Children's Society first raised this as something they thought council should do, that when children become adults at 18 and leave care, they should be exempted council tax. And I did actually consult with both the officers at KCC and also with Tim Madden at Folkestone and Hythe. And it was clear that actually support is already there for them, in that this council has a safety net for all the people who can't pay their council tax easily. It's there is actually a catch-all category of a hardship fund, and we have discretion to help those who need it. The adults who've been in care, continue to have support from a social worker, from somebody who will continue to mentor them, who will be there to help signpost them to support that's needed, which includes any relevant benefits they may wish to claim. If students, of course, are exempted council tax anyway, single person discounts, all of that sort of help is actually already on offer. So I think it would be wrong for anyone to think that help hasn't already been there and is already being given. And we are talking about probably a vanishingly small handful. So I don't see it having any great financial implications for the council, but I just wanted to make the point that help is already there, and our officers already do a fantastic job in making sure that those in need are helped. And I know that the Kent County Council officers do a lot of help in looking after care leavers, and they are a group that receives special help already. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Carey. Anyone else wishing to speak? No?
I'll say a word if I may, Chair.
Councillor Jenny, is it? It's got a hand up.
I did put my hand up, yes. Thank you, Chairman. I was just going to concur actually with my colleague Councillor Carey, and I also take on board everything that Councillor McConnell and Councillor Prater has said, and I was actually going to propose or second the motion that it actually is referred to Cabinet for further consideration. So I'm happy to go along with that.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Wade?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I'd just like to support the motion. My feeling is that these young people do need the support that is proposed. Generally speaking, they've come from very difficult backgrounds and will not have the support of family in the same way as most of our residents would. Along with the disruption to their childhoods and education, very often they've had little opportunity to develop the kind of life skills that other young people might have, particularly in relation to budgeting, for instance. And there will be a lack of support maybe for the kind of educational materials they might need, or to access training. I do recognise the work that social services do supporting them, but the outcomes nationally for care leavers are still very poor, sadly. Very often the outcomes are associated with mental health difficulties, leading to imprisonment, problems with addiction, and this is all too common, and they're far more represented in those groups than ordinary members of the population. So we still do need to do more, and I welcome this motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Wade. Councillor Davidson?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I'd just like to say that I wholeheartedly support this motion, and I'd like to commend Councillor McConville for bringing it in front of us and highlighting it to us this evening, and also to thank Councillor Prater for his support of it as the Cabinet member.
Thank you, Councillor Davison. Councillor Mullard?
Yes, Madam Chairman. First of all, well, not only first of all, but I want to apologise for my lateness. The Zoom system just wouldn't click in. I had to do various things on the computer. So that's my apologies. I was there on time, but not there on time. I apologise for that.
Thank you, Councillor Mullard. Anyone else wishing to speak? If not, we'll move to the vote.
Thank you, members.
Councillor McConville's got his hand up, I think.
I mean, yes. Thank you, Madam Chair. I mean, just to sum up, you know, I fully appreciate what Councillor Carey was saying, and you know, in no way do I want this to be anything that sort of says that we don't offer low support. I mean, the work that you know our department does in really trying to give as much support as possible, you know, is commendable. I think we do an amazing amount of work trying to support the people in our district that need it. You know, this is really to say, you know, if we can close a little bit of a net or anything to stop, you know, if it even saves one person, you know, falling through the cracks, I think it's worth pursuing. You know, looking into this further. You know, I would hope that, you know, it will lead to a realistic and manageable strategy to support people in our district, you know, who need it, and maybe even, you know, if as time goes by, maybe even KCC will relook at this decision and maybe expand it further, as other councils have done across the country. You know, I'd just like to say, you know, I think we should look at this as, you know, not a cost to our council, but an investment in our young people. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McConville. Okay, we move to the vote now, which will be recorded.
Thank you, Chairman. Members, if you could just state whether you're for, against or abstaining. Councillor Miss Berry.
For.
Councillor Brooke.
For.
Councillor Miss Carey.
Abstain.
Councillor Collier.
For.
Councillor Davison.
For.
Councillor Catania.
For.
Councillor Field.
For.
Councillor Fuller.
For.
Councillor Gain.
For.
Councillor Goddard.
For.
Councillor Hills.
For.
Councillor Mrs Hollingsby.
For.
Councillor Keane.
For.
Councillor J Martin.
For.
Councillor P Martin.
For.
Councillor McConville.
For.
Councillor Mead.
For.
Councillor Mayers.
For.
Councillor Monk.
For.
Councillor Mullard.
For.
Councillor Peel.
For.
Councillor Prater.
For.
Councillor Rolfe.
For.
Councillor Shue.
For.
Councillor Trelaw.
For.
Councillor Wade.
For.
Councillor Wybrow.
For.
Councillor Wimble.
For.
Councillor Wing.
For.
Abstention. One abstention. One abstention.
Members, I make that 28 members in favour and 1 abstention. That motion's carried.
Did you hear that, councillors?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Okay, now we move on to motions on notice. The following motions have been placed on the agenda in the order received. Up to 60 minutes shall be allowed for debates on motions on notice. Councillor Prater.
Thank you, Chair. I'm happy to move and reserve my right to speak until I've got a seconder.
Happy to second.
Who's seconding, sorry?
Councillor Fuller, guilty as
Thank you,
charged.
Councillor Fuller. Okay, it's now open to debate.
If I may speak then, moving, Chair. Thank you.
Sure.
I'm sure that all councillors from all parties will have had issues raised with them at different times around the use of fireworks. That's where this motion comes from tonight, an email to me from a local resident on the 1st of January this year. I'm sure many of us have had the same sort of email. Fireworks, especially when unexpected, can cause fear and distress to our neighbours, including the elderly, children, our pets and other animals. It's not being a killjoy to understand that. We want to minimise that distress and that fear, but we also understand the pleasure that fireworks can bring too. So I want to be clear, this motion does not ban fireworks. The council has no powers to do so, even if it wanted to. It does not ban private firework displays, and it does not limit public firework displays. Moving to the detail, although the discussion of public firework displays seems like a pretty optimistic thing to do right now, it is an important issue, and it will be something that's coming important again in coming months and years. This motion simply calls for all publicly organised firework displays within the district on our land or elsewhere to be advertised in a common place online so people can find them. That's good for both the event and the neighbours of the event. It's win-win and it's low cost. We could do it on our own website if we chose to, or we could signpost another one. It also seeks that the council runs reminder campaigns against the impact of fireworks on animal welfare and vulnerable people. And again, no one holds a private firework party intending to upset their neighbours and terrify animals. Again, it's a win-win and it's low cost. There are a number of other points proposed. They seek to encourage quieter firework options where possible, to limit sales as much as possible to full-time specialist retailers, and to help make the work of trading standards as effective as it can be with the support of the public. And finally, it also calls for a ban on the release of sky lanterns from Folkestone and Hythe District Council land, as well as writing to the government urging them to consider banning sky lanterns in the UK. That would bring us in line with many other places. That includes Australia, Spain, Germany, Brazil, 30 US states amongst others who have already banned the launching of sky lanterns. Now, we can't ban the use of sky lanterns in the district without legislation, but we can add licensing conditions to ensure they are not released in events held on land we own, because they are beautiful, flying fire bombs. They are dangerous to property, to land, and to wildlife. How they're legal, I personally don't understand, but that's for government. However, here as councillors, we can make the point that they should not be released from our land, parks and beaches. So I hope that all councillors can back this motion. It gives us some clear actions that the council can work on. It's specific, legal, achievable and inexpensive. It respects that fireworks and firework displays are legal, and it will provide some much needed relief to those residents that are scared by fireworks, whether those residents are old or young, human or animal.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Monk.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Well, I can't agree with the majority of this. Slightly peeved about the noise thing, because as a kid, the very thing I always wanted was the loudest bagger. But there you are. And who could disagree with the sky lanterns bit? I think overall that you struck just about the right tone with this motion. It's not too restrictive, but it does respect other people's views, and I'm very happy to support it.
Other councillors wishing to speak? No? Okay. So we go to the vote.
Thank you, Chairman. Councillor Mrs Berry.
For.
I think we've got some members put their hands up.
Oh, right. Let's see who they are. Councillor Hills.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I must thank Councillor Prater. I mean, obviously, it's a very appropriate time of year for this. And I would agree with broad thrust on what you're trying to do, which is to keep our residents safe four-legged or two-legged. But I would rather write to the government asking to ban sky lanterns, which are so dangerous, rather than to keep the noise down. I personally, a bit like Councillor Monk, I like a loud bang occasionally, but I understand it can be scary to pets. But sky lanterns cause fires, damage to farmland, houses, and everything. That's worth banning. Otherwise, I support your motion.
Thank you, Councillor Hills. Councillor Mead.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to bring up the slight disagreement, shall we say, about the noise. Anyone who has ever had a loved pet that has been scared of fireworks actually prays every fireworks night that the bangs will just go away. The animals go into absolute apoplexy. I've had friends whose pets have actually had heart attacks because of them. I know various elderly people who went through the war who also have really difficult time with the loud, unexpected bangs. So I have to wholeheartedly support this, and also to do with the lanterns, because I've been to many festivals and the lanterns go up on farmland and you just know that it's an accident waiting to happen. So thank you, Councillor Prater. I think it's an excellent motion.
Thank you, Councillor Mead. Councillor Fuller.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. I think the motion strikes the right balance. I hope all members agree. We can't ban lanterns. We don't control the noise levels of fireworks. So writing to the government and asking them to consider doing both, I think is the right way forward. Taking what control we can while actually having a dialogue with the public and encouraging them to behave responsibly is, I think, the right balance to strike. And yeah, I hope all councillors agree.
Thank you, Councillor Fuller. Anybody else wishing to speak before we go to the vote?
Quick one, Madam Chairman.
Councillor Mullard, sorry. Councillor Mullard.
Sorry, thank you, Chairman. Yeah, in general, I'm in favour of this. Certainly number 7, the sky lanterns, they should be gone. I'm not too worried about noise. I've always had pets, and I understand that, you know, the pets run under the table when they hear a big bang. But I'm not too worried about that. I don't think you can ban. You can somehow put a ban on noise. Being a very old councillor and having seen many firework displays and burnt a few guys in my life, I'm generally in support of, let's put it like this, firework night. But yeah, number 7, I agree that should go. I don't think we can get involved on trying to ban other shops or encourage shops not to sell. It's not our function. If Sainsbury's have made a decision like that, good on them, but it's nothing to do with us. So there are, of these 7 suggestions, yeah, there are 2 or 3 that I would not support, but in general, I would support most of them. That's all, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Mullard. Councillor McConville.
Thank you, Chair. Yeah, I mean, I'm very happy to support this motion. Like I say, especially you know, Resolution 7. I also agree that sky lanterns should be banned. You know, the RSPCA has run a very good campaign regarding this, and I'd just like to thank all of the residents, you know, over the past years that have been engaged, have contacted us to try and raise this awareness. And thank you again to Councillor Prater to bringing this, you know, to our attention tonight for a decision. You know, there's so much more that we could possibly hope to do, but I mean, as Councillor Prater said, I mean, a lot of it is at a national government level. It would be great if we as local councils could have more powers, maybe with licensing, for example, looking at our own firework displays. But obviously, all we can do is petition the government and hope. So very happy to support. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McConville. Councillor Prater.
Thank you. Just briefly to sum up then, I'd like to thank everybody for their comments, and particularly those people who've supported the comments. To be clear to those who are confused on it, this motion does not bang noise. It does not bang loud fireworks. It as it mentions, it asks to lobby government for limits on maximum noise of 90 decibels, but that's a lobbying of government thing. It does ask to promote quieter options, but it doesn't ban fireworks between 90 and 120 decibels. We can't, not allowed to. That's the government's decision, not our decision, above our pay grade. It is about giving people, doing what we can, giving people as much information about it as possible, because we can't stop those firework displays making that noise. But if you're prepared for it, if you're in a household and you know about it, if you can tell your neighbours about it and they know that it's coming up in advance, that gives them a chance to prepare for it. And it's an awful lot less scary for us and for our pets if you know that that's coming in advance, so you can be ready for it. So that's what it does on the whole. It doesn't ban noise. It doesn't ban loud bangers. I share a different view to Councillor Monk on that. I was never a fan, but that's a different approach. But I'm very grateful for those who've spoken in support, and I think that this gives us a basis to help those in the district, as I said, both two and four-legged, so that we can adjust and enjoy the fireworks as much as possible together. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Prater, for making that clear. So we go to the vote now, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Councillor Mrs Berry.
4.
Councillor Brooke.
4.
Councillor Miss Carey.
4.
Councillor Collier.
4.
Councillor Davidson.
4.
Councillor Kellius.
4.
Councillor Field.
4.
Councillor Fuller.
4.
Councillor Gain.
4.
Councillor Goddard.
4.
Councillor Hills.
4.
Councillor Mrs Hollingsby.
4.
Councillor Keane.
4.
Councillor J Martin.
4.
Councillor P Martin.
4.
Councillor McConville.
4.
Councillor Mead.
4.
Councillor Mayers.
4.
Councillor Monk.
4.
Councillor Mallard.
Abstain.
Councillor Peel.
Abstain.
Councillor Prater.
4.
Councillor Rolfe.
4.
Councillor Shue.
4.
Councillor Treloar.
4.
Councillor Wade.
4.
Councillor Wybrow.
4.
Councillor Wimble.
4.
Councillor Wee.
4.
Thank you, Chairman. I make that 27 for and 2 abstentions. That therefore is carried.
Thank you, councillors. Now we move on to the second motion on notice from Councillor McConville.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Yes, so I would like to propose this motion this evening. Hopefully you have all read it. Obviously, it makes note of the figures to do with the serious number of hate crime that we experience in the UK presently. There were some figures there in the motion. I mean, the new figures were released last week, so before I had a chance to obviously submit. And sadly, there is an additional 8% increase nationally on those figures for hate crime reporting. Thankfully, in Kent, our numbers have slightly gone down across all areas, but nationally, I mean, we're seeing a 19% increase in hate crime towards, for example, people of transgender, and also quite a large increase in hate crime towards people for their sexual orientation. So, you know, I think this is a very serious issue for the entire country. And obviously, I know we can't solve everything as a local council, but you know, there is a few resolutions which obviously all I'm asking is for Cabinet to obviously consider these. We're not making any decisions here this evening. Obviously, the first one, the declaration. So I think something that's simple and easy to achieve. Many councils have on their website a declaration to, you know, on their stance against hate crime. Brighton, for example, is a very good example of this. And I think there is easily something we could do here to show the people of our district, you know, where we stand on combating these issues. For example, you know, if you were to go on our website and Google racism, all you would be led to would be a link to the Q&A session of Napier Barracks. You know, so I think there's certainly things there that we could do within our own website and social media to actively move forward on this. Another resolution is, you know, our co-working, which I think is absolutely fantastic. You know, we have an amazing CSU unit that does a lot of good work already, and it's just in building upon that to try and achieve better results. Our CSU is there to highlight reporting, but I'd love to see something where, you know, we're more engaged altogether. The other resolution is to be supportive. So obviously championing community groups through our social media, highlighting, you know, what councillors are doing to support these groups. I think that, again, you know, very simple and easy that we can do. We can show that we're promoting community cohesion, promoting, you know, these events and groups that are active in our community that a lot of people, you know, simply just wouldn't know about. You know, and again, another resolution to expand our training and learning, our CPD provision, again, to highlight, you know, areas such as, you know, recognising transgender, disability, you know, of different faith communities, our Islamic community, our Nepalese community. You know, I think there's just so much that we could do to bring everyone together to make for a better, cohesive working between everyone. You know, to promote tolerance, acceptance. I think, and you know, the final resolution. You know, whether it's a working group or briefings. You know, I just think that there is more that we could do to promote all the good work that a lot of groups within our district, as well as what we already do, to further enhance, you know, our stance against hate crime. That's the crux of what I'm proposing here, and I would hope to have your support. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Have we got a seconder?
I'll second that.
Thank you, Councillor Martin.
No, Mead spoke up. Councillor Mead spoke, but Councillor Michelle Katenny's got a hand up.
Sorry, Councillor Mead, sorry. No.
I think it was Councillor Keane,
it was
Chair.
Councillor Katenny has put her hand up and Councillor Keane spoke.
So it should be Councillor
Sorry, I can only hear one. Sorry.
ask them who would like to second the motion.
Who would like to second that motion then, please?
May I please, Chair? That's Councillor Cutenius.
Councillor Cutenius. Okay, thank you. Right, now we've got Councillor Field wishes to speak.
Thank you. Madam Chairman, I'd like to move that the motion be put to the vote. Thank you.
Just one moment. I think it should be debated. I mean, I know it's been proposed and seconded, but I think there should be some sort of debate on it before we go to the vote, councillors. So Councillor Martin, I think, wanted to speak. That's Councillor Jim, and I apologise, Jim, for calling you John at the last meeting. Yeah, Councillor Jim Martin, you wish to speak.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I have indeed been called a lot worse than John in my time, believe me. Yeah, I would just like to support this motion wholeheartedly, and really, Councillor McConville did, praise all the good work, and I would like to reiterate that. But I have to go back to this summer when a Conservative town councillor in Hythe frustrated the will of Hythe Town Council and prevented the flying of the pride flag. So, there are all sorts of things that surround us, xenophobia, racism, and it is sadly endemic in our society, and we need to do everything we can. So I'm very, very happy to support Councillor McConville on this. I would have liked to have seconded it, but I wasn't as quick as Michelle. But I urge everyone to offer their full support. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Martin. Councillor Trelaw.
Thank you, Chair. I too really support this motion. I think the only niggling thing in my mind is that this isn't just a tick box exercise. For a very white council to sort of pat itself on the back. I really want to know that this is coming from our BAME community and other communities, and it's driven by them, and there is that will there within the community, and it doesn't impose a requirement on people, but it is it just sort of opens the door for say we do have some wonderful activists in our community, and just opens the door to that, rather than just being tick box. But I'm sure that that's all there in the background. So yeah, other than that, I absolutely wholeheartedly support this. Thanks.
Thank you, Councillor Trelaw. Councillor Hills.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Yes, I think any right-minded person would support this in the broad thrust, but there's a couple of small points. I think our local schools, I come from basically a white community on the Marsh, but we have a very, very good educational system out there of educating people on what's going on in the real world. And I think we are slowly changing attitudes to things. So I think that's good. But I do worry about the second to last point, to invite appropriate speakers on these issues to help the training council staff. I think our staff are marvellous, really, and the councils have a very good record on this. But who chooses the appropriate speakers? That sort of thing just grates a little bit with me. But otherwise, I would support it. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Hills. Councillor Rolfe.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I I fully endorse the proposal. I do believe that as our role as councillors is as community leaders, and that we need to set a very high benchmark in what we do, what we say, how we act, and what we write and what we support. But this does link back to the question that I posed earlier in the year. I think it was in February. It seems another lifetime ago, doesn't it? About wanting and suggesting that we have a social media policy based on the Church of England digital charter, basically endorsing kindness and empathy and compassion and the good traits of how people should act. It's not how we just act in the physical world, as we're all sitting here in this very virtual meeting. It's how people act in the virtual world too. And that's where I think a lot of the crimes, as we heard in a presentation last week, do take place. So if you're going to look at something like this, it's not just how we directly react as far as we can in a social distance society, but it's how we also extend that to how we communicate and liaise with people in the virtual world. And that, as we all know, is a very, very big challenge. So I think it needs to cover all aspects. And I would also remind everyone of Councillor Hollingsby's portfolio and the fact that, you know, that there's already a lot of interfaith, all kinds of community work going on with Jotno, etc. And also the great work of Jess Harmon and her colleagues linking up with the CSU. So there is some really good work, and it just maybe needs to be promoted more. So thanks to everyone who is doing some good work, and thank you for bringing this to everyone's attention as well.
Thank you, Councillor Rolfe. Councillor Hollingsby?
Yes, thank you, Chairman. That follows on very nicely, because I was just going to say something very similar. And I wanted I'm very happy to support it going to Cabinet for consideration. But I wouldn't like to underestimate all the work that is going on. I know Councillor McColville talked about that, and Councillor Rolfe. But the CSU does a huge amount of work in terms of hate crime and all the associated issues with discrimination. And also we've got a very good equality and diversity policy. I downloaded it and actually read it through this afternoon, and it is a very good policy. I also wanted to say, in terms of like Napier Barracks, for instance, the police through the Home Office, I'm not quite sure where the money's come from, but there was £2,000 just come into a pot for some education of the local primary or local schools. I'm not sure it's primary or secondary, I think it's a combination, on exactly that, hate crime. So there is a huge amount of work going on, and I wouldn't want people to think that we don't do and we don't act when we need to act. As I say, the CSU and the communities, we support as many agencies or organisations as we possibly can, whatever their type of work or job is, and the team work very hard to ensure that everybody is treated equally. So yes, we can build on this work, but please don't think it's not happening.
Thank you, Councillor Hollingsby. Councillor Mead?
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to join in with expressing how much work we know is going on. But it does sometimes seem to be behind the scenes. We all know it's happening, but maybe our residents don't know. And this is part of the reason for this motion. It's about us taking the stance and saying everyone deserves fair treatment, no discrimination. This is what we stand for, and this is what we're doing. And that's why I support this motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Davison?
Thank you. Yes, I think this is a really important motion. I think it's really important that we are demonstrating publicly as a council what our position is on these issues, and making that clear to people and doing that in an active and a proactive way. So I'm absolutely delighted to support the motion this evening. And also, while I've got the opportunity, just to remind people of the excellent events that are taking place in the district at the moment for Black History Month. I have a poster for the Folkestone Black Men Are Good series of events that are taking place. They've been excellent. If you've not had a chance to join any of them as yet, there's still a couple more weeks to go. I'd really encourage people to do it, and you can find all the details on the Facebook page.
Thank you, Councillor Davison. Councillor Quirtenius.
Thank you, Chair. My apologies for dipping out earlier. Unfortunately, I had internet issues, but I'm back now on a different source. I am very proud to be able to second this motion. I'd like to firstly say I know as a councillor how much excellent work our officers are doing behind the scenes with regard to promoting equalities, diversity. I know how hard Jess Harmon and the CSU unit work, and I am extremely honoured to work alongside them and have them as our officers working on this. But I think this is an excellent opportunity for us to demonstrate further afield just how much that we as a council will not tolerate racism, xenophobia, transphobia. We will not tolerate anti-Semitism. It's upon us all to take a stand, and as part of the Nolan principles, one of them is leadership. This is an opportunity for us, the District Council, to be able to lead the community with engagement and with understanding, so that we can go forward with community cohesion for a better society for all.
Thank you, Councillor. Councillor Mallard.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Yeah, I've really studied these resolutions. The last three on their bullet points I'm not supportive of. Forming other groups is not needed. It's as simple as that. So I would not support those last three. Certainly I believe in love thy neighbour as thyself and that sort of thing, although I'm not a religious person. But yeah, intolerant of racism, etc., Islamophobia, sexual orientation, I'll go along with that, as long as we include not just with racism. You've got to be a bit careful. I believe that yellow lives matter. I believe that Black lives matter, white lives matter, and Red Indian lives matter. We mustn't lose sight of that. There is a particular organisation around that seems not to include yellow lives and Red Indian lives in it. I hope they do, but they haven't made that point clear. So yeah, I agree with we should be intolerant to all racism, which includes the Red Indians and any other colour you care to think of. So generally speaking, the first bullet point, well, apart from making a recommendation, the first bullet point, declare this council, I kind of support that, yeah, providing it's more wide than it seems to insinuate. I don't agree with the last three bullet points. I'm now sitting here wondering whether to support the overall motion or not, but it's not very clear. Certainly, I would not support setting up yet another group, including everybody and his mate. I don't support that at all. We're here, as people have said just now, we're here to take a lead, not to take a lead from others, right? So I'm sitting here thinking about what way to vote, but I'm not yet decided.
Thank you, Councillor Mallard. Councillor Fuller.
Thank you, Chair. I mean, obviously, I'm sure councillors are aware of the public sector equality duty and the Equality Act that underlines it, which does put some requirements on us that I think this motion helps to flesh out and support. As a council, it's our duty to eliminate discrimination. and to advance equality of opportunity. But it's also our duty to encourage good relations between people. And that's people with the protected characteristics and those without, as it were. And the setting up of groups and the making public what we're doing and putting the ending of discrimination front and center is a really good way of doing that. And yes, I'm sure our equality and diversity policy is great. What I haven't seen is the information that we're meant to publish every year, and on how we're complying with the equality duty. And again, if that's front and center, and I'm not saying it doesn't exist because I'm sure it does, but if it's front and center, then our communities know what's going on in the background. And I think that's what this motion is really about. It's not necessarily about saying nothing's going on or not enough's going on even. It's about saying, how can we celebrate that in public, and how can we act as leaders for our community as we are required to do. And that's why I wholeheartedly support the motion. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Fuller. Councillor Monk.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I would ask Councillor Mallard to actually look at the resolution. The first thing is make a recommendation to Cabinet to consider the following. I don't see that that precludes him from voting against it, even if he doesn't like some of the recommendations that we are being asked to look at. So we take it in the round. I think that you take it in the round. This is a good resolution. Again, you see, in this world today, you have to be so careful what you say. And even in here, we're having faith/religious discrimination in the description. So you have to be very, very careful how you go about all of these things. As I say, I've got no problem overall with the resolution at all. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Monk. Who's next? Councillor McConville, please.
Happy to sum up, Madam Chairman, if the debate is finished. Yes, okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you everyone for your comments. I'll just, pick up on a couple of things. In no way, shape, or form do I, not think that we do enough. I think our CSU unit is one of the best, and I see the results of it all the time. But it is a very strategic, piece of work. And what I would like is to have something running alongside of it that sort of, deals more in, awareness. So I think, ideally, I would like something that would work in tandem with that and not take anything away from it whatsoever. To Councillor Hills's point, I completely, I can totally understand, who would invite speakers and so on. I mean, that sort of links back to having some sort of group or some sort of, thing that would be accountable to say, okay, these events are coming up. We recognise, our cultural calendar. We bring in people to speak. We can stream things online to residents. We can raise awareness of certain community events, faith events, anything that's going on, anything that we can do. I mean, that's sort of the whole reason behind where I'd like us to sort of be with this in the end. But no, thank you everyone for your comments, and obviously I look forward to hopefully taking this further. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor McConville. Okay, everybody's had the chance to speak. We'd take it to the vote now, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Councillor Mrs. Berry.
4.
Councillor Brooke.
4.
Councillor Mrs. Carey.
4.
Councillor Collier.
4.
Councillor Davison.
4.
Councillor Catenius.
4.
Councillor Field.
4.
Councillor Fuller.
4.
Councillor Gaines.
4.
Councillor Collard. Councillor Goddard,
For.
Councillor Hills,
Or
Councillor Mrs Hollingsby,
For.
Councillor King, Councillor King,
She's on mute.
are you on mute, Councillor King?
Hang on, yeah. For.
Councillor J Martin,
or
Councillor P Martin,
For.
Councillor McConville,
For.
Councillor Mead,
For.
Councillor Mayers,
For.
Councillor Monk,
For.
Councillor Mallard,
You'll be surprised. 4.
Councillor Peel,
For.
Councillor Prater,
For.
Councillor Rolfe,
For.
Councillor Shube,
For.
Councillor Treloar,
For.
Councillor Wade,
For.
Councillor Wybrow,
For.
Councillor Wimble,
For.
and Councillor Wing.
For.
That's unanimous, Chairman. The motion is carried.
Thank you very much, councillors. Right, the third motion on notice is from Councillor McConville, please.
Thank you, Madam Chair, again. Yes, so obviously I submitted this motion largely because, it's something that's very concerning to me. And obviously at the time, I was not aware of, what the council were going to propose in terms of a response to the consultation, although I did know that they were planning a response. But this is born out of a lot of local residents who are very concerned, about the proposals, who have, obviously written to me. So, which is why I submitted the motion that I have. But thankfully, the resolutions that I proposed were agreed earlier by Cabinet, so that not only will we just submit our consultation response through the government portal, but we'll also make them known in a letter direct to the Secretary of State responsible. Our responses will be published for our members to see. I mean, for our residents, sorry, not everyone can obviously trawl through meeting agendas and minutes to find out information. So the fact that we can make it readily available is excellent. And also, should the minister respond to us, then obviously that can be published as well. But this is still, I think, an area of real concern. I think it's massive for local government. But thankfully, I mean, the work of officers, in listening to obviously councillors who responded and preparing, what I'm mostly happy with in terms of the response. Due to all that, I'm very happy to withdraw the motion, Madam Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Councillor McConville, and thank you for the withdrawal notice. Thank you. Right, we move on now to item 7, Annual Scrutiny Work Programme 2020-21, pages 9 to 12. Is someone going to move this item?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, I'd like to move this.
Thank you, Councillor Shue. Have you got a seconder?
Can I second, please, Chair?
Councillor McInnes, yes. Thank you. We open to debate now, please.
Chair, can I just say thank you to all the committee that put the time in to work on the work programme, and indeed the programme that we've been following since last year. I think we started. We've had several workshops to work up this programme. So yeah, thank you to the committee and to my vice chair, Councillor Kutenius. And yeah, heartily recommend the programme that we've come up with for the remainder of this year. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we go to the vote, please.
Thank you, Chairman. Councillor Stone.
4.
Councillor Brooke.
4.
Councillor Miss Carey.
4.
Councillor Collier.
4.
Councillor Davison.
4.
Councillor Teniers.
4.
Councillor Field.
4.
Councillor Fuller.
4.
Councillor Gaines.
4.
Councillor Goddard.
4.
Councillor Hills.
4.
Councillor Mrs Hollenstein.
4.
Councillor King.
4.
Councillor Jane Martin.
4.
Councillor P Martin.
4.
Councillor McConville.
4.
Councillor Mead.
4.
Councillor Mayers.
4.
Councillor Monk.
4.
Councillor Mullard.
4.
Councillor Peel.
4.
Councillor Prater.
4.
Councillor Rolfe.
4.
Councillor Shue.
4.
Councillor Treloar.
4.
Councillor Wade.
4.
Councillor Wybrow.
4.
Councillor Wimble.
4.
Councillor Wing.
4.
Thank you. That's unanimous, Chair.
Thank you very much. Well, that brings us to the end of the meeting, councillors. Thank you very much. And our next meeting is on the 25th of November. Thank you all.